Hey, let's catch up with some Spurs news and then ask who has more to prove, Vassell or Sohan?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's Fight San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great start of your work week. And as always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. We appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on X at Locked On Spurs, as well as the YouTube page, Spotify, iTunes, Ken's 5 Plus app. The list goes on and on. We appreciate y'all making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Make sure you keep on subscribing to us. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. What are we talking about today? Got some Spurs news I want to catch you up with. Then bring in our guest, Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast and the Alamo City Sportscast on YouTube. We're going to be looking at Vassell and Sohan as far as which player has more to prove next season. And then read a couple of your Locked On Spurs fan comments. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, your summer Spurs, they're done. It's over. Their Vegas Summer League, California Classic, it's over. There'll be no Spurs basketball action for a few months now. The Spurs finished at Las Vegas 4-1. Their lone loss was a 96-80 loss to the 76ers. But they did beat the Raptors 189 to close out Summer League play. You had Donovan Williams. He led the Spurs with 16 points, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds. Riley Minix, more about him in a bit, added 14 points. And Bouye, he had 13 points. So, yeah, summer Spurs are done until next season. Hey, in other Spurs news, Wemby and France, they had another tune-up game. They played against Team Australia. Patty Mills, FIBA Patty. And they lost by 1 point, 83-82 versus Australia. Wembayama, he had 17 points and 12 rebounds. Patty Mills, former Spur, he led Australia with 24 points and 3 assists. So that's it for exhibition play. Up next for Team France, Team USA, the rest of the basketball field, the Olympics. That's next week. In other Spurs news, the Spurs have signed Riley Minix, summer leaguer, to a training camp deal. That's according to Spotrac. Minix was a real big standout during the summer league play. He only played in Vegas, bulk of his play. It was in Vegas. 6'8", 230 pounds, played at Morehead State last year. In his senior year, he averaged about 21 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, and he went undrafted in 2024. He scored 16 points and 4 assists in 20 minutes of summer league play in his debut versus the Pelicans. And then to finish summer league, you all know, 14 points against the Raptors. He played 3 games in Vegas, as I mentioned. He averaged about 12 points per game, 45% shooting, 50% shooting from the 3-line, 2 assists, and 2.3 rebounds on average. Now, Minix will likely compete for that final 2-way deal, but he'll likely see extended play with the team's Austin Spurs G League affiliate. But yeah, the forward, he really stood out in summer league play. It feels like that's every year, right? There's always that one player that comes out of nowhere for the Spurs summer league team. Bryn Forbes, Gary Neal, Bouye. Now you got Minix, so congratulations to Minix. We'll see what he can do in training camp. Finally, another Spurs news. Speaking of Wemby, he has a massive, and I mean massive, billboard in his honor as an advertisement for the Olympics out in France. I mean, they think it's huge. It's like y'all know the Witness LeBron big old sign like that in Cleveland. I've seen it before in person. It's huge. Well, they have something like that for Wemby out in France. And it's fitting, with the Olympics right around the corner. They're celebrating their athletes, at least in their country. Wemby's getting to shine. And also, Jeremy Sochan. Yeah, there's the billboard there. Wemby. Sohan, he made a surprise appearance at the NBA 3X games in London. As a matter of fact, he was such a good sport that he allowed himself to get dunked on during the 3X games dunk contest. So he stood in a row and one guy jumped over him to dunk on him. And then in another dunk, he held the ball tucked behind his head and the guy jumped over him off of Sohan's hands and dunked it on him. Good sport, Sohan. And it looks like your summer Spurs, at least those are on vacation like Sohan and whatnot. They're keeping busy before the new season starts. All right, there you have it. Some quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we have On deck, Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast and Alamo City Sportscast on YouTube. We're going to be discussing Vassell and Sohan. Which of the players has more to prove next season? And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, comment. But first, I want to talk to you about eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. That is the winning formula for winning titles. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. They got it. So whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with that eBay guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, you're not burning cash. With all the parts you need and the prices that you want, it's easy to make your car into the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Again, you want to go to ebaymotors.com. eBay guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. I also want to talk to you about Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah, they got it all. You need a latte, you need a cold brew, you need the signature coffee drink. It's called the Mudslinger. What else? Dairy alternative drinks. How about mini donuts? They got it all only at Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member of San Antonio, giving the city the best drinks in town. They got a great menu, friendly staff. They're very active on social media. You want to follow them right now on any platform at Mudslinger SATX. By the way, did I mention to you they're open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Hey, speaking more of their drinks, they have the Lightning Bolt series that includes the Alien, which is made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. Got to try it, by the way. Very delicious. Well, just a heads up, they normally were made with Red Bull. Well, that's switched now. The default is going to be Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts. Kind of gives you the similar effect as a Red Bull. But again, with those 7 power plant extracts, that'll help you, help them make new drinks, flexible to make just new drinks. But if you do want Red Bull, you just ask for it. They'll make it for you. And that is their Lightning Bolt series. So get it right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Go there right now, San Antonio. They're open every city from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You want to get there right now. Get in that car and make a trip out there because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And look who's back, everybody. He is Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast and the Alamo City Sportscast. With perhaps a new look Two Shots Podcast will be coming out soon. Joe teased something about that. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And he's rocking the MCS hat, giving love to Chris Leha, huh?
Got to give love to my boy Chris Leha. We're at MCS General Contracting. Shameless plug here, Jeff.
So why is Joe right here with us on Locked On Spurs? Well, we're going to be looking at Vassell and Sohan. Which player has more to prove next season? And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, comments in just a few minutes. Let's going to dive right into this. Joe's a busy man. I am a busy guy. We got to get this done ASAP. So, Joe, the Spurs are pretty much running it back for all intents and purposes. No major shakeup. As of now, there was no Lauri Markkanen, no big time deal on draft day. They're kind of running it back. But running it back means you have a more experienced Vassell, more experienced Sohan. Let's talk about those two guys. These guys are key in this rebuild. Who do you think has more to prove, Sohan or Vassell?
You'd probably expect me to say Sohan, but actually we kind of
do.
know. We already know what Sohan is. Actually, on this part, I think Vassell's going to have to go ahead and shell out this year. The biggest question to me with Vassell, and there's nothing against Vassell, I love him. Think he's a great player, one of the best players that the Spurs have. It's his durability. He always seems to be injured. I think now there's no excuses. Moving forward, you do have a good mix of not only young players, but veteran players out there on the court. I think this is going to be Vassell's year to shine, show us what he really can do on a consistent basis. He's shown us flashes of what he can do when he's up playing at his, let's say, to his potential. Let's put it like that. When he plays up to his potential, he's great, but he doesn't seem to do it consistently. I would like to see more consistency out of him. Now, again, there's no excuses. Now that you have these two veterans out on the court with you to go ahead and take away that pressure, I think it's going to be Vassell's year to shine and show us what he can really do.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I think Vassell, if we're going to compare just Sohan and Vassell, he has more to prove. because the Spurs are seeking a Robin to Wemby's Batman, and he has the potential to be that Robin, that sidekick, that 1-2 punch with Wemby. He's one of the better Spurs players on the roster right now, double figure scorer. We know he can knock down the three. We know he can knock down the shot, is really a threat on the court on both ends of the floor. But for me, Joe, you hit it on the head, is the durability. Can he be reliable? Until then, I have question marks about him, because they need him. They played the remainder of last season without him. Okay, fine. It was a throwaway season, but nevertheless, he was out. Joe, with that being said, do you think he can become the Robin to Wemby's Batman?
That's the big question here. As we look at this roster as it's currently constructed, while I think Devin Vassell can be a great player, a good player, very solid player, I don't think he's going to be that next NBA All-Star or that superstar that's going to shine on this Spurs team. I think you have Wemby, and then you have a bunch of other guys. Vassell is one of those other guys. While he is very good at what he does, he's still not propelled to that stardom status at this point. So I don't believe that he is ever going to amount to being a bona fide superstar in this league. Unfortunately, I think they're going to have to go ahead and look elsewhere to pair Wemby with another potential all-star.
You look at all these trade proposals, Spurs are involved with marketing and whatnot. You see a lot of Spurs fans kind of cringe when the idea of trading Vassell is on the table, whether that be a fake mock trade that fans always throw out there. But I don't know, Joe. I disagree with you. I think he has the makings to become the Robin to Wemby's Batman. It all hinges on one, his health. We know that. And he even admits it himself. He closed out last season on the press conference saying that he knows that he has to stay healthy and play close to a full season. We haven't got a full season of Vassell in quite some time. But Joe, do you think perhaps the new additions, Chris Paul and especially Harrison Barnes, could help Vassell become that Robin? Or do you think he has to learn it on his own?
I think he's going to have to learn it on his own. I mean, I think having veteran leadership on the court will help. But as long as he comes out and starts telling Spurs fans, even before the season starts, we hooping.
Yeah,
and then you go out there on the court and you absolutely lay an egg. And it's not just him. It's the team as a whole.
Yeah.
So we can't just single one player out. You're going to lose and you're going to win games as a team, not just because it's the fault of one player. But when you have Wemby out there on the court and he's out, and then you have Vassell out there, the team instantly isn't any better. It's gotten worse with Wemby off the court. Vassell needs to go ahead and be able to elevate this team in the absence of one Victor Wembanyama and be able to sustain leagues or cut away or chip away at a deficit while Wemby is out. Until he can go ahead and do those things, to me, there's still a lot that he still needs to learn. While he can actually get better, I'm not saying that he can't. It needs to be proven. I think starting this year, there's no more excuses. You're either going to shell out and show us what you're capable of doing and show us that the high ceiling that you have in the minds of Spurs fans is obtainable, or we see what you got with him, and this is the ceiling, the pinnacle, and do the San Antonio Spurs front office move on? Those are the questions.
I don't think Vassell has reached any type of plateau yet. I still think there's more levels to his game that he can get better at. One consistent shot, one or just consistency altogether. We saw it last season. He would have tremendous games in a row, double figure scoring, one or two games like that, just really showing out, and then he'll go on a dry spell. We saw that constantly last season. So with that being said, if his consistency can get down and become more consistent and be inconsistent, then I think the Spurs have themselves a possible 1-2 punch with him and Wembanyama. He sees it too. He talked about it at to close last season, saying that he wants to develop more chemistry with Wemby. I think that's what's going to happen. That will definitely happen with time. But, I don't want to forget Sohan here. Now, we both agree that it's definitely Vassell. He has perhaps the most approved next season. But what about Sohan? Again, he's considered, part of this rebuilding crew. Do you think we've really seen what Sohan is already, or do you think he has another gear in him?
No, I think you've actually seen what Sohan is capable of being. And when you pair him out there on the court with, again, veteran leadership that kind of takes that pressure off of him, it allows Sohan to kind of flourish in his role, which he's going to be a really good role player, one of the starting five. With Sohan, you're seeing what he is. He's able to do a lot of the little things that go unnoticed out there on the court. He is a good defensive presence to have. Go after those 50-50 balls, help get rebounds, help set up some picks, go ahead and set some screens up. Great moving without the ball, can go and do those backdoor cuts and get an easy bucket. The one thing that is, I guess, a faux pas on his game is not being able to shoot a three, not being able to hit consistent jumpers. While he can go ahead and have breakout games when he can go out for maybe 30 points or so, it's in the absence of other players. He needs to be able to find his role on this team, get comfortable doing that, and just embrace the role of being a role player. If he can do that and put up some consistent numbers, because he's not out there to be an offensive threat, but if you can get double-digit scoring out of him, 8 points, 10 points a game, to me, that's a win-win. But his job is to be out there creating havoc on the defensive end.
Yeah, and he does a great job of that. Always getting under the skin of the opposition, nearly getting into fights on the court. You like that. You look at the Warriors, they needed that type of player on them, Draymond Green. Now, granted, Draymond Green and Sohan, different players, but still the idea is there that you need that irritant. You need that guy that's going to do his job defensively, check, Sohan does, but also show up every once in a while on offense, check, he does. He perfected that one-handed free throw shot, so he's a little reliable at the free throw line, can score. We've seen that. And I think that area of his game offensively needs to take a step up, and I think we will see that next year. But as far as pressure to prove anything, I don't think it's on Sohan yet, is it?
I don't think it is. I mean, to me, he is who he is. He's kind of shown you what he's capable of doing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, this is the type of player that you have, and you can't expect him to go ahead and be this offensive scoring threat when historically you look back on his career, going back to Baylor, he wasn't known for that. He was also always known for his defensive presence. I hope that going forward, Coach Pop doesn't go ahead and decide to get cute with the lineup again and put him at point. While he can go ahead and dribble the ball, he does have some handles. Running the point isn't something that he is, let's say, naturally accustomed to doing. I think just fitting in, being a role player, will go ahead and have him thrive in this Spurs system. And again, I think his pinnacle is maybe if he can go ahead and add a three-pointer to his game, and he can knock down a three-point shot consistently, maybe he can be one of these types of kind of Bruce Bowen-esque type of role player, being able to knock down an open three when called upon and play good defense. That's about all you can expect out of him.
We talk about Chris Paul being an impactful player as far as development wise for the guards, Castle and Trey Jones, Blake Wesley and whatnot. But I think we're forgetting too about Harrison Barnes. I think look at the position, that forward position. Talk about an Iron Man. We're talking about Vassell not being able to play a full season. That's what Barnes does. He plays 82 games. He's done that in his career. But look, you can't teach health and, staying healthy. But nevertheless, I think Barnes is going to be a great influence on the forwards as well. How to play with Wemby better. The spacing. Barnes has played, championship basketball. He's played, some pressure games and what it takes to operate in that paint. Not only with Wemby, but also think how to stretch the floor. Barnes can knock down the three. So I don't think we're giving Barnes enough credit for that. Yeah, obviously, we need to see if it pays out. The season hasn't even begun. We're months away from that. But what do you think about the impact of Barnes on guys like Vassell and Sohan?
I think he's going to have a good positive impact on the younger players. Again, being able to impart his veteran knowledge and leadership out there on the court, especially when you get into crunch time. When the Spurs have had issues closing out close games or squandering the lead in, the final minute of a game. I think that's when you're going to see Barnes' leadership and knowledge shine through to the younger players. And hopefully that translates into the Spurs actually winning more games because the Spurs were right there in a lot of these games that they lost to some very good teams, only because they kept making so many mistakes because it is a young team. But I think now we need to start moving on from this is a young team to this is a team now. We don't have a lot of, let's say, rookies on this team anymore. You could say that in years past, but some of these players are already coming into year 2, year 3. So they're not rookies. We do have a rookie in Stephon Castle, but beyond that, this unit that you've had shown you in the prior season that they were only capable of winning 20 plus games. Now with Barnes and the addition of CP3, the expectation is you're going to be able to go ahead and hopefully double your win total or be flirting with at least 30 to 35 games that you're going to be able to win, showing the trajectory is moving in a positive direction, that with bringing in the veterans and imparting that knowledge to the younger players, the team is going to be better and more consistent.
Yeah, you hope so too. So, in some, I guess, yes, Vassell and Sohan will be key in the rebuild, like, albeit if they stick around. You never know. They
Yeah.
could be part of a trade. Laurie Markkinen deal is still out there. That hasn't gone away. But, to put a wrap on this segment here, Joe, would you be okay if the Spurs were to trade Vassell or Sohan in a Laurie Markkinen deal?
I think the Laurie Markkinen deal has kind of, in my opinion, sailed already. It would be the Spurs making a big gamble to go ahead and get rid of some instrumental pieces for a player that might not want to be here. We don't know if Markkinen does want to be a San Antonio Spur, and if the Spurs acquire him via trade, will he want to stay in this current, let's say, pop-led system? I think at this point, you go ahead and keep the players that you have, unless a more lucrative deal comes your way.
Yeah. I think if Utah were to say, okay, we'll ease up on our haul that we want from teams, San Antonio, maybe, but still keep Vassell in there and maybe lessen the amount of picks. Then you start wandering. Look, what reportedly Utah wants right now, it's
It's
just
crazy.
crazy. It's just too much. But if they were to lessen it, maybe on the pick side, you got to think about it. But like, I think everybody kind of agrees outside of Wemby, pretty much everybody's on board, on the table of wanting to be a trade. And that does include Vassell. But again, you'll have to be getting something
Let's not forget
really,
Keldon. He's been rumored to be on the
yeah.
trading block as well.
Yeah, Keldon as well. Yeah, but we shall see. But there you have it. We think that the Vassell has the most to prove next season in comparison to Sohan. Obviously, we'll do these comparisons as the offseason continues. But just between Sohan and Vassell, we think Vassell is the guy that's going to be under the spotlight next season. What do you think? You let Joe know on X at Two Shots Podcast, and let me know on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Go subscribe to that right now. Hey, speaking of the YouTube page, when we get back, we're going to be talking about you guys. Some comments you're all leaving over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Look, you love sports. I love sports. Look, you never want them to end, right? But now that the sports season is going to start winding down into kind of a quiet period, it doesn't really mean much because you can keep the sports action going with FanDuel. Yeah, FanDuel app, it lets you keep the sports going on whenever you want. All you got to do is open that app, dream up some bets at any time you like, and hopefully you can start watching those winnings roll in. It gets even better. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers, I repeat, all customers, with a booster or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day, all summer long, only at FanDuel. Go get that app. Very user-friendly, very intuitive, not hard to navigate. Parlays, they got it. Spreads, they got it. Just, you can think of anything, FanDuel has you covered. So again, head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Springs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia of the Alamo City Sportscast. Make sure to check that out on YouTube. No, everybody, he's still with us on planet Earth. That halo you see above him, no, he hasn't gone to the pearly gates. You see, he got the halo above you, Joe. I see it.
Oh yeah, it's part of my really nice halo lights that I have in the studio. Everybody, when they come in, they always like, "Hey, I like your lights."
Every time you come on Locked On and you get the thing out, like, it looks like he's all innocent. You see how innocent Joe is? He has a halo on top of his head. He does nothing wrong. Joe, is that true? I don't believe
Nah,
it.
don't let that demeanor fool you, man. I'm a stone cold killer, dude. I don't take no prisoners. And when it comes to business, I'm all about that business. You get in my way, you can get mowed down.
Now we're gonna have to get horns now on Joe's head. Now I'm gonna put those horns on him. But again, he is Joe Garcia with the Alamo City Sportscast. All right, it's time for you guys to take the spotlight. What are y'all talking about over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? And it is predictions. Y'all are loving these predictions about what the Spurs win total will be next season. We got a pair of them right here for you. Joe, the first one is from Guadalupe Chavira, 1227. He says Spurs finish with a 42-40 record and make the play-in tournament. Let Wemby play 40 minutes. He's only 20 years old. Don't limit his minutes. What do you think about that? What do you think about his prediction and just unleashing Wemby next season?
Yeah, I think Coach Pop needs to just go ahead and unleash Wemby. We saw at the end of the year how Wemby came on, and he showed that he can go ahead and take over games. Some of these games he had a great turnaround for the team, and they looked like they were all gonna lose the game. But in the waning moments, Wemby said, "You know what? Hold my beer, Coach Pop. We're not winning this. We're not losing this one. We're gonna win." And he put the team on his back, and he showed that he is very capable of rising to the occasion. So I'm looking forward to Coach Pop unleashing Wemby, and you know what? Let's see what he got. Well, let's see what he got. Vamos Wemby, like the shirt that I've made, Jeff. Vamos Wemby.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? The only thing what cautions me about unleashing Wemby next season and playing 40 minutes per game, and it's like that fan left there, is I think you might see some early load management of Wemby. Think about it. He's playing in the Summer Olympics. He's playing training camp. He's with Team France. He's playing exhibition games with Team France. He's going to have a short rest period and then has to come back to training camp, practice, preseason, new season. So I can predict maybe a little bit of load management for him to start the season, let him rest up, let him, heal up any bumps and bruises. They're likely to have a long Olympic basketball tournament run. So I would caution there as well. But once he feels good, ready to go, I think that's where the Spurs should unleash him. Look, he's no good to them if he's on the IR. You don't want that. So be cautious. And look, we all know the Spurs are very cautious when it comes to player injuries. They'll do. But we thank you for that comment there, Guadalupe. Keep them coming. Our next comment, Joe, is from a familiar name, JC at Special Leaf. So shout out JC. He says, I take the over. If I'm a betting man, hold my Special Leaf. The Spurs are going into the high 30s in the W column. Thank you, JC at Special Leaf, for that comment. So he's reacting, Joe, to the Vegas projection of the win total. Right now, Vegas has the Spurs around 34, 35 wins for next season. JC's taking the over. What about you, Joe?
Oh, I'm taking the over, definitely. Well, JC saying over here with Special Leaf, I agree with them. I think that the Spurs are going to win more than 35 games. That's the expectation. If they lose, and let's say they don't win at least 35 games, I think Spurs fans will be a little bit disappointed. I don't think they're going to say that it's a losing season, per se,
right,
because they only won 20 plus games in the previous season. They can go ahead and get 32, 35 wins. That's a great thing. But if they surpass that, hey, it gives the city something to get excited about and the fans, because what's synonymous with Fiesta? The Spurs in the playoffs. And we have not seen that in quite some time. Getting the city excited and the fan base excited right around that time, when Fiesta's hidden, and there might be in the conversation for a playing game. You don't think you're going to see the return of the Fiesta colors all over San Antonio? I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. They never left, but yeah, there'll probably be a lot more decorations like that across the city.
The buzz will be
the only thing is that Joe. Yeah, exactly. The only thing, Joe, is didn't we learn our lesson? Remember we laughed at Vegas last year for saying the Spurs were going to have a 22-win season, and they nailed it. They nailed it. Are we not learning our lesson, Joe? This, according to Vegas, we're not going to be close to the play-in tournament at 34, 35. That doesn't get you in there in the West.
No, but they go and win more than 35, and they're flirting with 38 and 40. That's something to get excited about. I'm going to say in the words of the famous Han Solo, never tell me the odds, Jeff. I'm a betting man. I'm a gambler.
There you go. See,
let's go ahead and put 100 on the over.
See, Joe knows how to warm my heart when it comes to hearing Locked On Spurs, dropping a Star Wars reference. Yeah, I'm taking the over too. I think the Spurs will flirt with the play-in. I think they'd be like coming down to the stretch. They got to win these games, and this has to happen. And yeah, I'm making this up. Houston has to lose 2, and Spurs got to win this one. I think it'd be some sort of scenario like that. But they are close. They are very, very close. Paul, Barnes, those additions are going to help the Spurs. If you look at last season, they won or they lost. They almost lost all their games by 10 points or less. That's how close they were in games. You throw in Barnes, you throw in Paul, you throw in a seasoned roster that's pretty much coming back intact. Wemby's only going to get better. I think the Spurs team can go over 34, 35 wins next season. Hey, we
I
thank
got, I
y'all
got
for.
something I want to tell you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let me make a bet with you. If the Spurs win
Okay, he's gonna make a
more
bet
than the
here.
40 games, right? You got to come on
Yeah.
an episode of Los with me. And you can wear 2 shirts, but I want you to tear one of those shirts,
Oh,
just
I
like
can't
the
do
great
that.
Hulk Hogan,
Yeah,
and be like,
I'm gonna wear a shirt under that shirt.
yeah, you can
I'm
wear
gonna
a shirt under that shirt, but tear
Okay.
it like the great Hulk Hogan. You'll be like, yeah, brother, they won more than 40 and rip it up, if they win
Yeah.
more than 40. And if,
Yeah.
that would be something that would be fun to do.
We'll just put make it like Superman, like zoom in on the chest and be like, like the Superman reveal, something like
Yeah.
that.
Have like a
That's
sad face, and then have the Spurs logo
the
underneath that,
Spurs logo.
the shirt,
Yeah,
and you just rip
exactly.
it.
He is Joe Garcia, bringing all the great creative ideas here on Locked On Spurs, but he is also one of the leads over at the Alamo City Sportscast. That's on YouTube. Tell us about that, Joe. What's going on with that, as well as can you let anything out about Two Shots? You kind
Yeah.
of teased it. You teased it a little bit on X.
Yeah. So what we're doing over at the Alamo City Sportscast is we're going to start expanding a little bit. This has been part of the plan for quite some time. I've had a whole vision of what was going to happen with the network. And now that we're right about, where we need to be at as far as subscriber count and also the page views and the interaction that we're getting with the fan base, the expansion is coming along nicely now. So Brandon and Sith, they are doing their wrestling spaces, which everybody can go ahead and tune into that after Monday nights, after WWE Monday Night Raw, and look at either Brandon Big Papi Medina or Sith Lord Elias, and tune into this Twitter spaces, the wrestling Twitter spaces, because it's a really fun discussion to be had. Beyond that, Two Shots podcast. That was a Spurs podcast, that has been on hiatus for over a year. Because I was thinking about what do I want to do with it, I've reached the point to where I felt like I wanted to do something more, something different. And after putting a lot of thought into it over the last year, kind of talking with you a little bit here and there, and really thinking about it, a rebrand is in order. So that rebrand that I'm going towards is going to be, something that fits along with the culture, the vibe, the pulse of the city, and the people that live in it, While Two Shots is great, and I love that, I think it's just a little antiquated now, and we need to move on with something that's more modern with what, is going on and coalescing with Wemby and with the younger, team members that we have here. So that is something that I'm going to unveil, possibly on another episode of Los. If you have me on next week, we can do the unveil at that point if you'd like.
Ooh, let's do
and
that.
I'll let them know my new Twitter handle along with the new logo.
Look at that. See, Joe just keeps on bringing out more and more new stuff every time, whether it's for Alamo City or Two Shots. And Joe, you're always on top of things. You're always on.
Got to evolve. You got to always evolve. Always keep on striving for something new and different. So I think it's time for a change. A change is needed.
All right, cool. Well, to check all that and more, check out Alamo City Sportscast on YouTube. Follow Joe on X at Two Shots Podcast. And just give them a follow and subscribe. Congratulations to them. They made it over 1,000 subscribers on Alamo City. So they're very happy about that, but keep it going. Don't let them down. Go subscribe to Alamo City, ASAP. And I guess shout out MCS for making a cameo here. Look at that hat.
They're always making a cameo. I'm wearing this hat all over town, and now that MCS is official sponsor of the Alamo City, Sportscast, I'm always sporting the hat, and I get a lot of compliments on it. So Chris Leha, y'all did a great job on the logo by my boy Bear County Social Apparel. Shout out to him.
They actually have a hat for me. We're just trying to arrange for them to drop it off. Definitely that's a cool hat. But again, everybody, Two Shots Podcast. Make sure to follow Joe on X. That's the handle. Go follow him right now.
We thank y'all.
Yeah, it might be changing soon. So hurry up, go follow me before you can be part of the grandfathered followers of Two Shots Podcast before the transition. And we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kids 5 Plus app, YouTube. Make sure to follow us ASAP. Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming sports channel only on YouTube. Brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Go subscribe to that right now. So for Joe Garcia, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.